Mhm. I like to sing. Oh, this song is stuck in my head, but whatever. I'm not gonna do that. Let me move this light because it's like right on my glasses. Uh, hmm. Hey everybody! Happy Thursday! It's Thursday here on the East Coast, and welcome back to my channel. Y'all know I'm Zoha, and I like to hop on here and talk about things as they come across my mind. And today I want to talk about your healing and self accountability. I've been doing a lot of deep transformational healing work lately, and the self accountability goes up every time I encounter myself differently on my healing path. I'm noticing. And so I just wanted to share that. Let me just take care of other business first before I hop into that. And that is, as you know, I am a yoga teacher. If you are interested in learning yoga or having a personal yoga teacher, the link is in my bio. It's www.zohamieslight.com. My sessions are 30 minutes for $15 for one-on-ones. I will be offering a drop-in session soon for anyone who just doesn't have the time to schedule a session but may, like, oh yeah, she has that drop-in session. So I'll be offering that soon, twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And of course, Healing Crystal Adornments. I made these earrings. I make earrings, bracelets, waist beads, necklaces, copper rock jewelry, and all of those things for men and women. Also, again, at my website. So now that I got that out the way, let's talk about healing and self accountability, right? Um, hey, I think somebody said hi. Hi. So self accountability. Hey, Dave. Hey, everybody. Hey, Bonafide. Oh my God, all my friends are here. Can y'all hear me good? So I'm gonna sit the phone down so it won't be moving so much. And I put my necklace on backwards. I took it off to take pictures, and that's gonna bother me, so I have to change it. But I wanted to talk about my healing process so far and the self accountability, the level of self accountability that I've found that I've had to exist in order for me to benefit from, and not just benefit, but in order for me to not repeat certain cycles. Thank you. Thank you for the compliment. Thank you for the kindness. I woke up today feeling a lot better. I had a long week. Yesterday, I wasn't feeling so great. Emotionally, had some things that I have been, working on come up. And yeah, it was a really emotional day yesterday. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna just sit in it. So I sat in it. And that's really one of the hardest parts of healing is when you have, a day where it's not such a great day, right? And you wish you could just skip that part. um, and you want to just feel good, right? But you can't always do that. You can't always just feel great. Some things in our healing journeys were really traumatic, and they had a lot of negative feelings associated with them. So as we're healing through those things, the negative feelings are going to show back up again. And this is where self accountability gets to like be top tier, because I was feeling like crap, like dog crap. And I had to take the accountability for the fact that yes, I had these terrible things happen to me in my life, and they had brought me they were, I'm healing, and so I'm gonna experience certain emotions based off of those memories, and to stay present with my children, to stay present with my partner, to stay present with myself, and to not harm myself or to harm my children or to harm others around me with my words, deeds, thoughts, actions. You know what I mean? Like really just being clear that that incident happened in the past. Thank you guys. That incident happened in the past, and yes, I am feeling emotions from that incident right now, but no one else has to suffer because I am not feeling well. No one else has to experience my experience. So, I was having a normal day where I had clients, I had yoga clients, I had my kids to pick up from school, I have my 4-year-old that's home with me, and I had to prepare things for the week for the podcast. Oh, yeah. For those of you who haven't heard, I have a podcast now. It's on Apple, Spotify, everywhere. I'll put that in the bio. I mean, in the description. But yeah, so I was preparing everything, and I had this emotional I don't want to say breakdown, but breakthrough. I had this emotional breakthrough around some things that I was feeling about an incident that happened to me in my teenage years. And so, the first thing that I like to do to be accountable for my emotions is to acknowledge that I am feeling, hold up, hold up. I'm not feeling so great. You know what I mean? This isn't feeling good. I'm not going to force myself to push through and just feel great. So I'm going to stop everything I'm doing and put some things down, everything that I can put down, and, not overwhelm myself because I'm already feeling overwhelmed with the emotional residue of the trauma. And so that is the one thing, right? So I'm going to put things down that I can put down and acknowledge that I don't feel so great. And a lot of times, what we don't do is acknowledge that we're not having such a good day. We try to push through it, and then that throws us off our square, and we end up screaming or being very frustrated or shutting down or something like that because we haven't addressed the fact that we have this emotional issue occurring, and we haven't slowed down to let these emotions come to the surface. So they come to the surface in different ways, and oftentimes when they come to the surface, they disrupt other people's lives around us because we haven't allowed them to show up in our space, which is the only space that they get to show up in. So that was the first thing. I acknowledged that I was not feeling as great as I wanted to feel. And then, secondly, I called my partner and told him, hey, I'm not having a great day. I'm going to do my best to get all of these things that I said I would get done. But I'm telling you right now, this is probably not going to, pan out to be the most what do you call that productive day for me because I'm a very hard worker. I From the moment I wake up, I'm working to the moment I sit down. um and I um running your own business is a lot of work. I got a lot of moving parts, especially because I am a yoga teacher. I coach women for trauma, and I run a jewelry business. And now I added the podcast on top of that. So all of those things have to get managed. Plus, I have to be present for my 3 children in order to be have a smooth day, right? Because that's how it works. So then I told him, so telling someone, sharing with someone that you feel safe with that you are having a rough emotion, you're having emotional challenges, is a part of self accountability during your healing. So I shared with him, and because I can't share with my 4-year-old because she's 4, I just, readjusted myself and scaled back some things so that I wouldn't harm her by screaming or shutting down or anything like that. Because I don't beat my children. But when I say beat, I mean, I don't use corporal punishment for my children. But I do do other things like take away things that they want and stuff like that, or give them activities to do in the place of whatever thing that they want to do. So yes, y'all are saying comments. David said, always delight sharing her warmth, even during her healing periods. Gotta love her strength. Up with the up with the brother. Bonafide. Indeed, part of self accountability is trying one's best to make certain not to spread your personal pain to others. If you have a trustworthy, confident who you can talk to, that can help. Yes. And Larry, I think I answered your questions. So yes, I'm married and I run a small business. that I'm trying to stop saying small business, but I run my own business. And so, um, just really noticing the framework that my kid is in, and that she can feel my emotional energy, and maintaining that so that she is not affected. And then, when I picked up my other two from school, I told them, mom's not feeling so great today. I need you to come in. Because I'm very playful with my kids. So if I don't tell them that, it's not a great day, they will be jumping all over me, playing jokes, pranks, and all type of stuff all the time. And I just wasn't in the mood, and that's so rare for them. So I just was like, "Hey guys," when I picked them up, "I'm not feeling so great today. So when we get home, this is how things are gonna go, and I'm gonna ask you to keep the noise at a minimum today." And they were like, "Okay, cool." And so they were cool. And I would say the third thing that helps best with self accountability is finding an outlet for that emotional disruption. For me, it could be crying. It was crying yesterday. I cried for like 4 hours yesterday. So it was crying. Journaling is one thing I use when I have the space to do that. Sometimes I write journals. Sometimes I tape myself using my phone recorder, and I just say train of thought things that I think, just so they won't be sitting in my head running around. Because a lot of times the emotions are feeding off of the stories that you're telling yourself in your head. So you know what I mean? Like as you're crying and you're trying to get less emotional and clear it up, and then you remember something again, and then it's like a loop. And journaling helps you get off of that loop. Yoga is something that helps me get off of that loop. But because it was such a deep emotional issue, journaling and crying was the main thing that I used. Um, oh yes, and oh my God, yes, Bonafide. Even something as simple as a good warm hug from a loved one can help at times. You're correct. That would have been great. Kenny was at work, and my kids, they like, my son is like emotional, but I try not to let them have any of my emotional stuff if I can. Like I try to keep it away from them as much as possible. Um, I let them know that I'm having difficulty, but I don't make them responsible for my feelings in any way. And I grew up in a home where I was responsible for my mom's feelings, her feelings good or feeling bad. So it just feels really heavy to me to introduce that type of thing. um and I try to make sure that they feel autonomous. They don't feel like they're part, like they're connected to me to the hip, you know what I mean? So that was the one thing. And yeah, when Kenny got home, he was, gave me a massage, and we hung out and watched TV, and just, had a quiet night. The other thing that I do find useful for accountability, it does help. This is cathartic. Damon said, I hope we help when you speak to us, because I'm unequivocally positive of the joy and help you unexpectedly bring to us. Thank you, Damon. Yes, it does help. It's cathartic for me, the talking. It's kind of like therapy, but not. It's kind of like somatic therapy. Like I think because a lot of my trauma, I didn't get to voice my opinion. Was Most of my trauma was around like my body and not being able to stop somebody from harming me. So, and I didn't have an opinion. So being able to speak about it really is somatic for me, and healing in a way that is deeply um changing. And I was in therapy for a long time, and I just don't think that um therapy was set up in a way for me to feel free enough to express myself, or I probably wasn't there at the time to do that. I think, I mean, it could have been a toss up of both. And but I've had a lot of therapeutic things done since that regular sit and talk therapy. I told y'all before, I had a soul retrieval, and I've had some hypnosis done. I've had a lot of things done that have changed the way that my mind functions. Bonafide said, I wish that I could have helped you, Queen. No disrespect whatsoever to your husband, but if we were to connect socially, you could talk to me about anything and everything. I appreciate that. So yeah, that he, yeah, like just being able to express yourself when you have had your choices taken from you is a big deal. I think a lot of people shy away from this type of sharing because it's seen as weak or needy or attention seeking, those things. But honestly, it can be seen as that for some people. I'm not going to tell people how to see anything, but I think that if a lot more people were sharing their experiences, and being honest about the experiences that they were having instead of hiding in them, then there will be a lot less harm being done to each other. Most people are harming each other because they don't have an outlet, they don't have a space that they feel safe enough to share. So the energy is trapped in their bodies and they don't know that they're on a behavioral loop because they haven't talked about the behaviors, they haven't talked about the behaviors associated with the trauma, so they have no idea. And honestly, I think that most things can be done with movement and therapy. Larry, I think you're asking, do I have a boyfriend? No, I have a husband. um He's in some of my yoga videos. Um, what else? So I just wanted to share that because it's really important for us to be accountable during our healing processes, because just because we're not feeling great, we shouldn't hurt other people. We shouldn't harm other people. And I know that there was some harm done to us in a way, and it feels like, really overwhelming and heavy, and it might seem like you can't heal without harming other people, but it's totally possible. Just have to take a deep breath, become aware, stay present in your process, and be honest about what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, because it's very important that we don't injure others while we're trying to get what we need. And I know this world is not a big uh, example of that. Antoine said, keep your meekness. It helps with spiritual energies and physical energy also. It takes you to greater heights in your life. Can you go deeper into that? I kind of think I understand what you're saying. Um, but if you could elaborate, I would really appreciate that. My daughter is watching The Incredibles. She's been watching it on a loop for 3 days. When we're not doing something together, this is what she's watching, and it's she gets on these kicks. Kids are interesting like that, right? They'll just get on a kick and they'll watch something for like a week straight, and it's new to them every time. It's new to them every time. I only have 1 or 2 shows that I can do that with. No, maybe 3. I love Monk. If you like detective stories, that's like one of my favorite shows. I can look at The Office like that over and over again. And I'm kind of afraid to say this because people, like, when people hear that you look at this show and you're black, they're like, how do you think that's funny? But honestly, Seinfeld is hilarious to me and I love it. I've looked at every season several times of all 3 of those shows, and I will always use those as like a come down, like an easy like, chill thing for myself to just chill out in. I was waiting for Antoine to elaborate, but I don't know if he has yet. I'm seeing if he has, and he hasn't. All right, so I hope this helps anybody who's having difficulty getting through their healing process, because it can be overwhelming, it can be stressful, and it can be emotional. And um, the key to, I think, a lot of things is not controlling the emotions, but acknowledging the emotions and letting them flow safely. Like, right? Like, most times when you've had a lot of trauma, your emotional spaces are really wild and all over the place. And learning how to tone those down and not become so reactionary to everything is really helpful. It has been really helpful and useful to me. Because either that was my fallback. Either the person I would react to trauma in a overly emotional way, or I would shut all the way down. So I'm at one extreme to the next extreme. So I had to learn how to bring it to the middle and just be able to feel the emotion, acknowledge the emotion, and still express it, but not to the point where it's disruptive, you know? And I don't think that's something that we're taught. And I try to teach my kids that, like, you know, like, I get it, you're not feeling great, that this really hurt your feelings, and let's process this. Why did it hurt your feelings? Why did you have this expectation? Where did this expectation come from? Who told you that this was how it's supposed to be? And let's rework that belief, that value that you've put in your head, because it might not match up everywhere you go. Sim Bonafide says similar to hugging, cuddling helps as well. It's the same type of healing energy involved, perhaps a bit more intimate. Yes, I agree. And Bonafide also said, I used to love Monk as well. It's also interesting how OCD has rendered into a strength in that particular position as a detective. Yes, it's really it was kind of both in his case, a strength and a weakness, because like he almost couldn't do his job, but he was so good at his job at the same time. Like he couldn't carry a gun for like 5 or 6 seasons because he couldn't shoot anybody. It's like that show is like a true irony of like you having all the tools but not being able to always use them effectively. And I was talking to someone yesterday because there was this episode where there was a nudist, and because he saw nudism as unclean, he wanted this person to be guilty of the crime so bad he couldn't get over his OCD wouldn't allow him to get beyond the fact that this person was nude, that they were a good person. He was just like, they're just dirty. If you're nude, you're just a nasty, dirty person, and he did it. And it was like, it's one of the funniest episodes because, you know, he just couldn't get past himself to do his actual work because his belief was so strong that he couldn't even pick up on the cues of like he normally could as a detective. So it was a really, you know, interesting process, and that's really telling about how some of us go through the world around our belief systems, right? We have such strong belief systems even when the evidence is telling us that it's not this, what we believe is not real in this instance. We can't let it go. We're tied to it, we're clinging to it like the last straw, you know, and to our detriment sometimes. And that's why I really work really diligently at releasing my beliefs daily, because I know that some things that I thought even 6 months ago are not true today. They're just not true. They don't hold value in this instance or wherever situation that I'm in. And a lot of people would see that as wishy-washy, but I feel like that that is actually, we're on a, I say this all the time, we're on a spinning ball in space. How can anything be the same every day? It's almost insane to hold on to that, like that you would. But yeah, if that's it, you guys. Oh, thanks, Antoine. I was looking for that. Being a humble soul helps you realize everything you go through, good or bad, you develop into something you never thought you can see, feel, and experience, a living witness. Yes, I agree. I agree. It's a hard concept. What you just said, you said it very simply and eloquently. It's a hard concept to engage in real life because, you know, like, okay, let me go back. It was a hard concept for me at first to engage in real life because I had to release the victim mentality that things happen to me. So once I released that mentality that things were happening to me, because as long as I believe that things were happening to me, then I know, then I will hold on to that people were trying to harm me, right? That things were, that my life was bad or things bad were trying to happen to me. So I had to release that mentality that I could be the victim of a circumstance. Yes, things can happen to me, but they have hold no weight, good or bad. They're just happening. Things are just happening. They're not. It's not a judgment thing. I am encountering this thing. Now, what I do with that encounter is my business, right? So, yeah, I understand that concept, and I believe that is very true in a lot of instances. Thank you for elaborating. I really appreciate that. Oh, that's nice, Michael. I don't know about that. A goddess thing. That's a lot of responsibility. That's a lot of responsibility. I feel like I'm just another a human being that really wants to be human. And Bonafide said, indeed, cognitive dissonance can be a difficult impediment to changing one's paradigm, even if it is for the better. Being rigid and closed-minded keeps our own foot in our own way. Yes. Yes. Thank you, Bonafide. Yeah, it's hard, though, because if you're not objective, if you don't take a step back and look at everything, it can seem like everything is happening to you. Happy Veterans Day. Thanks, Louise, for saying that. Happy Veterans Day to everyone. I don't even know. Y'all lucky I knew it was Thursday. I did not know it was Veterans Day. I do not keep up with times and dates and stuff like that. I'm very bad at that. But happy Veterans Day. Thank you to everyone who served, and I pray that you are mentally, spiritually, and financially all the whales, because yeah, that's a sacrifice. But yeah, guys, I'm just excited. If y'all don't know, I started a podcast with one of my best friends, and it's been going really, really great. And we do a lot of conversations like this, but you get another person's perspective. It's not just me talking your head off, and we don't agree on everything, so I like that. I like that she has her own concepts and ways of viewing life, and I feel like that we give y'all enough of two different perspectives of people who have lived experiences, and sharing their healing processes, that it makes it an interesting listen. So if you listen to podcasts and you're interested in podcasts, we're on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. It's called Salt Pepper Ketchup. And it's called Salt Pepper Ketchup because I grew up in DC. And when I was a kid, and still to this day, I haven't been to a carryout in a while. But if you go to the carryout, if you know what a carryout is where you go get food, and Chinese food. So you go to the carryout, you order your French fries with salt, pepper, ketchup. And we named it that because it was like, a childhood thing to do. And we're talking about a lot of things that are near and dear to our heart. And French fries with salt, pepper, ketchup saved my life a lot of times. A lot of times. You have $1.50 when you're a young person and you starting out in a city like DC. Sometimes that's all you ate all day. Sometimes that was your dinner. Sometimes that's how you survived on those carryouts and those cheap foods. So that's why we did that. Thanks, Bonafide. Yeah, it's been fun. We have about 5 or 6 episodes up. Thank you, Larry. Have a good day. We have about 5 or 6 episodes up and talking about different aspects of healing. And she has a different background than me. Like, we've had similar backgrounds, but we've had different lives and different things to conquer in our lives and to overcome. The last one we just put up is about healthy boundaries. I think it's called Modern Day Minstrel. Whew, that was a lot. Healthy boundaries and codependency is that's what it was about, and how we got to talking about how our relationship here as Black people and our relationship to whiteness and how the codependency exists in those things. And yeah, it's a whole conversation. I'm really um blunt, a lot more blunt on there, and because I feel like fuck it, I'm gonna say it. Um, Bonafide said my favorite eating spot in DC was in the Adams Morgan area. Oh, I love Adams Morgan. It's not the same. None of DC is the same. It's really different. Um, yeah, it's really different there. Um, it's kind of hard to see the city, but everything changes. Nothing stays the same, and that's how life is. That's how life is. DC is very different now. Um, yeah, have some nostalgia places in DC that just they don't exist anymore. A lot of stuff just doesn't exist anymore. It's very, um, I know this word is overused, but it's very gentrified and yuppie-ish and different. Everything's about real estate and making money in that city now. Nothing is about the people. Um, so it's just another city at this point. It's not what it was. It's like used to be like a Philly or Harlem or something like that. And it's not. It doesn't feel like that anymore. That's kind of saddening. But we all must grow. So I'm just gonna leave y'all with that. Again, if you want to book yoga sessions, everybody's always commenting on the yoga videos. If you want to book a one-on-one session, the link is in my bio. And if you want to purchase some healing crystal jewelry, I just added some new stuff and more men's bracelets. One of y'all favorites is back. Where is it? I can't believe it's been a week and it's still here, because usually as soon as it gets here, it's gone. These two sell very quickly every time. This is the large hematite and the large blue goldstone. Lots of different things are back in stock. And yeah, DC definitely isn't Chocolate City anymore, and Harlem is completely different. But it'll be I'm sure there'll be some type of revival. There always is of what was. Nothing's ever gone. We are literally starting to wear clothes from the 80s again. So I know it'll come back. It's just how it's going to come back and what that's going to look like for Black people. It didn't look great the first time with crack and AIDS. So I just pray that it's not one of those situations again. Yeah. So I want to thank y'all for hanging out with me. This went way longer than I intended. I thought we'd be on here for like 15 minutes. Thank you, Bonafide. So I'm going to hop off here, and y'all have a good rest of the day. I still owe y'all a long yoga session. I just need to get to my editing software and edit it. Yesterday I just wasn't feeling great, so I didn't get to it. But I'll probably get to it today or tomorrow and put up a long yoga video. So I'll talk to you guys later, and be well. Peace, y'all.